Can military members get a DAS pass?
If you remember, back in March, we went to Disneyland after we had our trip to Hawaii. And when we were there, we used the DAS pass for the very first time. If you're curious if you qualify, just pay attention because we're going to go over all of the details. We're going to try to make this sum it up into one quick video.
What is a DAS pass?
So DAS, D-A-S, stands for Disability Access Service. This is a program that Disney uses to assist guests that have difficulties tolerating extended waits in conventional lines.
Due to a disability.
This pass does not get you immediate access to a ride or a show, but you will get a return time that's comparable to the wait time for that attraction. So if your disability is something that Disney can assist you with, they're going to assist you with that thing before they give you the DAS pass. So this isn't for people with mobility challenges necessarily. If they can give you a wheelchair because you can't stand too long, that's what they'll offer you.
So it's very important to understand that just because you have a DAS pass does not mean it eliminates your wait time.
Mm-hmm.
You will still wait for rides.
They're just modifying the way that you're waiting.
So you're not stuck or standing in one spot or in the middle of a crowd and you can't handle being around crowds.
Yeah.
Now, there's a difference between can't be in a crowd of people or you just don't want to be.
Yeah.
There's a difference, right?
Now, I want to add, though, that people do try to take advantage of this program, but Disney does have the right to take away your annual pass, cancel your ticket, ban you from the parks if they find out that you are lying about your disability.
Isn't it for people who have like a broken leg, broken arm, you may be handicapped or on crutches or whatever, they'll put you in a wheelchair.
Yeah, so like if you had a surgery, don't go up to a cast member and think that you're going to qualify because that's not what this is for.
This is for people who maybe have kids who are autistic or
people who are triggered by anxiety or
PTSD,
people with anxious panic attacks, things like that. I think it's just important to differentiate the disabilities because I think people are confused by DAS and they think that it is a handicap sticker and that's not what this is.
Right. Well, how do you register for a DAS pass? There's really two ways to do it. You can do it in person at the park. I've been through the process. It's pretty easy and straightforward.
Now, if you go early in the morning, like first one there, or if you go later in the evening, there's not really a lot of wait. Right. If you get there mid-morning or try to do it in the middle of the afternoon, you may wait a while.
Right.
To avoid that, though, you can always pre-register online.
All right, so you get on the Walt Disney World website. You pre-register for your DAS pass through a live video chat with a cast member.
I also want to add that whenever you do pre-register online, you have the option to pre-select 2 experiences for each day that you're at the park. So that is one advantage of doing it online instead of in person.
The good ones like Tron and whatever?
Not every attraction or ride is going to be eligible for you to select from. But if you do the pre-register online, you do get to pick from what is eligible and what's available at that time. And you can pick 2 for each day that you're at the park or at a park. So 2 for each park. Now you cannot pre-register until you're at least 30 days out from your vacation, but no later than 2 days before your first park day.
So in both situations, you're going to have a one-on-one conversation with the cast member, and he's going to ask you some they're personal questions. Why do you feel like you need a DAS pass? And you have to tell him why you think you need one.
Or he'll say something like, what does this experience look like for you?
Right.
How do you personally struggle with waiting in the line? What does that experience look and feel like for you? And you have to be kind of specific about what you struggle with. And that's where they're going to determine if you qualify or not. It is kind of tough to talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the first time we went, and because we heard about it, like, what's this? We had just finished our vacation at the park. Somebody told us about it, and we're like, well, what's that? The guy started asking me questions, and luckily Ash was standing there, and she had to tell him why I couldn't do stuff. And at that point, it was like, well, what's wrong with me?
And that's one thing that I wanted to point out too is I imagine that it can be difficult as the DAS Pass person to talk about the things that they struggle with. It's hard to highlight the things that you're insecure about to another person, especially somebody that you don't know. You know, it's not an easy thing sometimes to share with people. And that's why, there's a thing called the ADA, the American Disabilities Act. They will not ask you for any kind of documentation. They won't ask you to prove it in any way. You don't have to bring anything with you because that's against the ADA. But it's also on your honor as well. And like I said, if they do find out that you're not being truthful, somehow they can kick you out. They have that right.
Once you get done speaking to the cast member, they will make an educated decision on whether or not to grant your DAS Pass or not. When they do, the first time you get your DAS Pass granted, they're going to take your picture. They're going to link everything to your My Disney experience.
That being said, though, you don't have to get it. If you're completely against it, or if you're going with maybe a child or a elderly person that doesn't have a phone, or somebody that physically can't operate their own account, right? As somebody visiting with a DAS Pass member that can't use those kinds of things, I can actually go up to each attraction and ask the cast member to give us a return time. You don't have to do it through the app if you don't want to. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But if you want to just walk up to the attraction, say I want to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, I can walk up there to the line, talk to the cast member, and see what kind of return time we can get. And we can do it that way. The DAS Pass member does not have to physically be there for me to ask that question and get a return time. But the DAS Pass user has to be with you when you return and being into the ride.
Right.
They have to be the first person that does it too. Because remember, they took their picture and that's the one that they're going to look at whenever we go into the ride.
Right. So say we make a DAS Pass for Winnie the Pooh. Right. It says it has a return time of come back at 11:32. We can come back 5 minutes early. So 10:32, so
27.
Yeah, 10:27. We can come back. I'll go up to the thing and I'll bing my magic band. It'll turn blue, which means attention required. And then they have to look at it. And if you can look at their screen, your picture will show up on their little monitor there. They'll look at the screen, look at me, and then say, okay. Then the rest of my party can go through, and then we get on the ride.
Going back to registering, if you're doing all of this online and you're going through the live chat, say you have somebody like a child who's under 18 that needs to register for this. As the parent or the guardian over 18, you can accompany them on the video chat, but that child or whoever it is will need to answer those questions with the cast member, and then they'll take their picture. But somebody can accompany them and kind of help them out as well. So let's say Story needed a DAS Pass. If we were going to pre-register her online, we would have to go onto the website, do the live chat, and she would actually have to be physically there on the live chat with us just to have her picture taken.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they have to have the picture is mainly the reason.
Gotcha.
But we would help, communicate those troubles for her.
So how do you use it? All right, first of all, the DAS Pass, once you register, it's good for 60 days, right? And it's only good for one resort. If you go to Walt Disney World and you register at Walt Disney World, and then say next week you're flying to Disneyland, it's not going to work. You have to re-register at Disneyland because the parks don't talk to each other.
Yeah, or vice versa. They're two separate. I know it's all Disney, but they're two separate entities, I guess.
So go to Walt Disney World, you register, get your DAS Pass. It's good for 60 days. After day 61, you have to re-register for it. Go back to the guest relations or city hall or wherever it is, wherever you want to go, talk to the cast member again.
Just tell them that you want to update your pass, and they should have your picture still there.
Right.
I don't think you've had to retake your picture before, have you?
No. I did find that when you go back in after your 60 days are up, you say, hi, I need to re-register for my DAS pass. They pretty much just ask you, do you still have the same conditions you had before? Yes. They say, okay, granted.
I will add, though, that it is kind of dependent on the cast members. Some are a little bit more inquisitive than others. And the last time we went, he did ask to repeat, like, what your struggles look like.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you use a DAS pass? We're going to try to break this down and make this as simplified as we can. If you're in the park in person, you've just been qualified for DAS pass. At that point, since you're already in the park, you can go ahead and look on the app. If you just go to My Disney Experience, go to that little hamburger, those 3 lines at the bottom. At the very bottom, you'll see DAS Pass. If you tap that, it'll open up all of the experiences and the rides that are eligible for you to pick from.
When you hit that button, it's going to show you all the rides at all the parks, and there's no way to filter them.
Yeah.
If I could change something about that, that's what I would change.
And adding to what Tim just said, you can only pick a DAS pass for the park that you're in. So if you're in Magic Kingdom, you cannot make a DAS pass for Animal Kingdom until you get there. We tried to do that when we park hopped one day just to save some time while we were navigating over there, and it won't let you do it.
Right.
If you are online and you've pre-registered and you are qualified for a DAS pass before you get to your vacation, you can do something that's called DAS Advanced Planning. And that's where you pre-select the 2 attractions for each park day. You can do all of that in your conversation with the cast member, and they can set that up for you. So once you've decided which attractions you want to do, you will go in there and then add your friends and family, everybody that's in your party that wants to ride, and then you will select the time, the return window. Again, I wanted to point out, if you don't have the app and you don't want to do it that way, you can walk up to the attraction itself. The DAS member doesn't have to be with you. You can do it as just one of the members of the party and walk up there and get a return time that way. You can also visit all of the guest experience locations. It's all the little blue umbrellas that you see scattered around the park. They can help you do that as well.
You can use your DAS Pass in conjunction with the Genie Plus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of a scenario where you would.
Well,
but
here's the thing. It's different for us because we go often, right? Yeah. So we're not going to go into the park and try to hit every single ride every time we go. Right. So for us, we don't usually get the Genie Plus, and you don't have to. You are able to get a lot done with just the DAS Pass if you use it correctly.
So the way we use our DAS Pass is we'll make a DAS Pass for, whatever ride, Winnie the Pooh, right? Say come back at 11:30. You show up 5 minutes early, so at 11:25, you can get on the ride. Once you get through the queue, sometimes like Pirates of the Caribbean, there's two bingers. There's 2 spots. Yeah.
Touch points.
There's 2 touch points. There's 2 bingers. There's 2 bing spots.
Bing poles.
Or whatever you want to call it.
Some rides have that.
So I actually just wait till I get on the ride. I'll have my phone pulled up, and then when I sit down in on the ride.
The honey pot?
Yeah, where I get in the honey pot, right? Start making a little thing. We've already talked. We've already made up what we're going to ride next. What do you want to do next? I'll look at the wait times, see what ride has the shortest wait time. You still have to wait, right? You just don't wait in line. Okay, let's go ride Teacups. It's right there by Winnie the Pooh. So then while we're making that first little turn, I'm making another DAS Pass while we're on that ride still. That's the way we do it. We've gotten a lot of rides in one day doing it that way.
If your wait is longer, I wouldn't wait to get on the ride to do it, because you could make the next DAS Pass right after you being. And then while you're waiting to get onto that ride, you're eating up the time, that you have to wait to get on your next one.
So we've actually made a DAS Pass for, something that was like an hour wait and went and rode something else.
A good example of that is the video that we did in Hollywood Studios when we did was it Rise of the Resistance, or it was one of the Star Wars rides that had a long wait. And so while we were waiting virtually, we went ahead and did Alien Swirling Saucers, because those two lands are right next to each other and they were shorter waits. So we just knocked those out. And then by the time we were finished with those, we jumped back over to Star Wars. You can stack these two, like we were saying. You can use the Genie Plus as well. If you choose to pay for that service, you can also book those.
You can only make one DAS pass per ride for your party.
I also want to note that when it gives you a return window for your DAS pass, like let's say you're supposed to go between 9:30 and 10:30, you can show up, again, 5 minutes early, so 9:25, but 9:30 is like your official start time. You can show up anytime after that. You don't have to get there before the hour window is over. It's for the rest of the day as long as the park is open. So anytime you want to come back after that, that's when you can use it. But remember, you can't book another one until you use that one.
Right.
So you don't want to take too long, but let's say you're at lunch and you have a DAS pass. You don't have to scarf it down to try to make it back. You know, you can just casually eat and then go whenever you're finished. Now with a Genie Plus, you do have a window. You do have to go back within that time. So if you're going to stack them, just remember what you used for what ride, so you don't miss out on something.
Right. So there's a few rides that Story and I like to ride that Mama can't, like Astro Orbiter, for example. Story and I will make a DAS pass. Just Story and I will go up there. It's like on the app, it says member of your party. And they're like, when you first go in there for the whole ride, all of them are checked. So you just got to uncheck who doesn't want to ride it. So there was one time I actually didn't uncheck Mama's name. So I had to take her wristband with me. If you
Bait me. But if you make that mistake and don't bing me in,
you can cancel it and redo it and then have a new show time and whatever. For like Tron and like Guardians and
just the ones with the virtual queues that you have to like wake up at 7 a.m. for,
right.
Or like the one at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, you have to like get them.
You can have a DAS pass for a ride and still do those as well.
Yeah.
So this is kind of unrelated to DAS pass.
Well, related, but not specific to DAS pass.
Yeah. If you have a child who's wheelchair bound, if you go to guest relations first, they'll give you a red tag to identify that stroller or wheelchair.
So that you can take it through the queue.
Right.
You don't have to leave it in the stroller parking or anything like that. You just go through on it. Hopefully we answered most of the questions that you have about the DAS pass, but I'm sure there are some other special circumstances that maybe we haven't experienced yet or just don't know about yet. If there is something that you still want to know, you're welcome to leave a comment down below and we will try to find out for you. But if you want an immediate answer, I would recommend joining a Facebook group that is specific to DAS Pass. There's one that we follow called DAS Pass at Disney, and you can put your question there, and there is somebody out there who has experienced the same thing that you're going through, and they can probably help you out more specifically than we can.
Yeah. Or you could always call the park. And if you want to do that, their telephone number is 407-560-2547 or email disability.services@disneyparks.com. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to be happy.
Not just strong.